What's up, YouTube? It's Carolina Calvin coming back to you with another video. I got my boy Mitch. I got MG here. We're gonna talk about Deadpool 2. Disclaimer: we're gonna talk about spoilers. We're doing a video Sunday, a little bit later than we usually do, but I just got to see the movie earlier today, and of course, we're gonna talk about Easter eggs. If we can remember all the jokes, because it's Deadpool, it's gonna be a lot. But I'm gonna get these guys' thoughts, rankings, ratings, whatever. What'd you guys think of the movie? Just without giving a rating, what'd you guys think of the movie?
Man, overall, a pretty hilarious movie. Actually, I thought that we'll talk about it a little bit. I'm not sure if you guys agree, but I felt like at the beginning it wasn't exactly what I expected. Kind of threw me off a little bit. And it really didn't start getting good until really Cable came in, to me at least, and then towards the end it got really, really good, and of course there were great jokes in it. And whenever you go to a Deadpool movie, it's a little bit different than going to, a Marvel movie or a Batman movie or whatever, right? You're going in for the jokes, you're going in for a straight-up comedy, and I think that's what we got in this movie. And overall, it delivered. It had huge expectations. I thought pretty good movie overall, and we'll discuss it a little bit more in detail.
Yeah, I'm kind of on the opposite, where I thought the beginning through the middle was pretty strong, and then there was a little tail off at the end, but nothing that made me hate the movie or anything or dislike it even. I still thought it was really good though, from beginning to start. Really good comedy in there too.
I thought
really good. Like they threw you off with the trailers.
Yeah, because they did the whole.
Oh, Calvin finally seen it with the X-Force. That's what I was telling you.
Oh, you talking about the Black Panther thing?
That's what no, but they ain't make it to the fight.
Oh yeah.
I couldn't tell you yesterday, but that's what I told you. The trailers were deceiving because I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
The Vanisher, that was
Vanisher
Brad Pitt.
was Brad Pitt. Did you see that?
Yeah.
That was funny. Like that was because I was wondering like why didn't we see Terry Crews get that many lines? Well, because he dies, or
you actually see them punching people.
Yeah, and that's what like through that, and they they deliberately did that.
Honestly, I think that's why the beginning kind of threw me off, because I honestly had no idea what this movie was going to be about. Because I maybe watched the first trailer and I was like, okay, whatever, I'm going to see it anyways. Don't really want to get it spoiled for anything. So, but then seeing all the clips in the theaters, going to see, Infinity War and all that, having the Deadpool trailers, whatever. It's like these trailers never gave us anything really that was in this movie that really gave us a direction to what this movie was actually going to be about. So when you walked in the movie, it's really different from other movies nowadays where you kind of already know where it's going to go and you kind of already know what the path of the movie is going to take. And in this one, you're completely thrown off by everything that happens, including Brad Pitt being in it.
The only thing that I was 100% certain of was Juggernaut from the trailers. They never showed him in the trailers, but they teased him in the trailers. But it wasn't like a tease where it's like he's definitely going to be in the movie, but it was kind of like he could be in the movie type of deal.
Yeah.
I was actually still surprised to see him, because I think I missed at least one of the trailers that they had brought out, and maybe they gave a hint that he was going to be there.
And they did a bunch of different videos. The marketing for Deadpool is actually it's so different from everything else in terms of how they market it. So there's like little video clips all over the internet.
It's probably the best.
The Bob Ross one is hilarious.
Oh yeah. Deadpool has the best because he just like the Celine Dion stuff.
The David Beckham thing.
Yeah, like everything. It's the best marketing there is.
Yeah, because he could be in anything.
And he gets into it too,
including
like
the DC
Reynolds.
Universe.
He really gets into it as Deadpool. Like he interacts with people and things on social media. Like he really lives the character.
Man, and I think another thing is exactly what you brought up. It's Ryan Reynolds. Like people just love Ryan Reynolds, and the whole he's become Deadpool. Like him and Deadpool are like the same person at this point.
He's honestly the reason the character's around.
I think he is. I think there's an argument for him being the best fit for a character out of any superhero movie. And I know Hugh Jackman and Robert Downey Jr. are high choices, and even Tom Hiddleston, but none of them live that character. Ryan Reynolds lives Deadpool.
Yep.
365 days a year on social media. Like he tweets as Deadpool basically. So to me, I think for me he's jumped ahead just simply for the fact that he's not just a character during the movies.
Yeah.
He's like the Ric Flair of
Yep, pretty
characters.
much.
Yeah, and that he's the main reason that they even made the first one. You know, because he wanted to fix that character, and he was pushing for years to get that movie out.
Hey, he fixed it.
He finally killed
did.
off the original, so
Yeah.
got his
Oh
wish.
yeah. That was funny.
And he killed Green Lantern before he even suited up.
Good. But
That's why he wasn't in Justice League.
that's why. See, now everything's explained now. Fits right into the DCEU. I thought of course Ryan Reynolds, he was great. I thought Josh Brolin as Cable was really good. And
Yeah.
the CG on him was good.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
CG
The only thing
I don't
that
want to take a
threw me
shot
off
at
was,
DC.
like, once you get to the end of the movie, you stop seeing the eye light up, where you just see his regular eyes. Like,
yeah.
I think that was the one mistake that they made because that's such a distinctive feature for Cable. Like, anytime you see him in comics or in any avenue, is that eye that glows, that left eye. And towards the end of the movie, it wasn't. And I think that's the one mistake that they made with well, I think Juggernaut didn't look that great from afar. But I think the eye, that was the one, like, nitpicky thing about the CG.
Juggernaut's
I think,
fight scene
like
with,
I said earlier,
Lichko was pretty
whenever Josh Brolin was on screen as Cable, I just felt like the movie was elevated. Like every time he was there, I just felt like the movie was better.
Well, his acting was great.
His acting is great, but on the other side of things, I also felt like his backstory and everything wasn't quite explained well enough. It was sort of like there, but then it wasn't, and it was like, but then whenever he was at the end, when he was kind of talking to Deadpool, they had the good banter going back and forth. So that was fun. It was kind of a mix, like in terms of what they actually did with the Cable character in the movie. But I just think Josh Brolin was so great that it didn't really matter in the long run, and it ended up being great anyways.
I think a part of that too is because they didn't want it to be a Deadpool and Cable movie. They still wanted to make it a Deadpool movie, so that's why I think they didn't go with the like super full backstory on Cable. I think you'll get more of that in X-Force.
I think that's going to be the next movie, is it not?
Yeah, that's the next movie.
Yep. I think they're start shooting this year, actually, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. But I think that's why you didn't really, because X-Force is supposed to kind of be the buddy cop Deadpool and Cable movie, where this one is a Deadpool movie. So I don't think they wanted to kind of go too deep into his story.
And also, I think a lot of people going to the movie felt like Cable was going to be the true villain of the movie, which he didn't really end up being.
Nope.
Yeah, I think we all knew at some point in time. He's always kind of been somewhat of an anti-hero for the comic readers, so I think that was pretty cool.
Yeah, Josh Brolin did a really good job. And it's crazy. The guy, last month did Thanos. Now he comes into Deadpool too and does really well as Cable.
And they make a joke about it. I was waiting for that joke the whole movie.
Yeah, the guy's done. He's been great. These last couple of months.
Interesting thing for me is they start shooting Gambit this summer.
Wait, what?
Because it's still scheduled for release next year.
Wait, who's Gambit again? Is it Channing Tatum?
Channing Tatum.
Yep. No.
I don't like Channing Tatum, but he's been as behind this project as anybody. In terms
Channing
of making
Tatum
it
has
happen.
put out some pretty good movies recently, though.
Yeah. Talking about Channing Tatum later in the year, so
I don't know, bro. I don't know.
But he, I want to see the Gambit Cable interaction on screen, just from a comics perspective and knowing their history and backstory basically, and him exposing Gambit, Cable exposing Gambit for what he really was back in the day. So I'm curious to see if we ever get that, but the deal is going to get done soon. It's next summer with Fox and Disney, so probably not.
Yeah.
So who knows?
I thought what's the thought? I thought the chick that played Domino was pretty good.
Zazie Beetz.
That's her name?
She's Zazie Beetz. Yeah, that's her real name. She's on Atlanta. She's one of the main people on Atlanta.
Oh.
Yeah, she was
That's
pretty
where I
good.
first found out about her. But yeah,
'Cause I know people coming into the movie, people were complaining that she wasn't pale enough because Domino in the comics is like
Domino's like
she's like pale white, like
yeah.
powder, like cocaine white, like so. A lot of people complain about that, but I thought she did a really good job.
I thought she had the charisma.
Yeah, I mean, like it was like no expectation. No one, you coming into it like you expect her to be there, but
Yeah, most of the people don't even know who that is. So.
yeah. So I mean, I thought she did pretty good out of the.
And especially with they did a great job with the powers in the movie.
Yeah.
Like just
They didn't overdo it.
yeah, all the action scenes were pretty cool, like involving the luck thing, and Deadpool's jokes were spot on. So I thought it was well played, and it was funny that she was the only one that actually got through. What was that guy's name again? Peter. Peter didn't make it, bro. He didn't make it.
Damn.
He almost did. He
almost
stuck
made
the
it.
landing. He stuck the landing. That was probably my favorite scene of the entire movie, where that scene where they jumped off the plane.
Everybody around me was like, "Oh, he's dead." Oh.
Because you didn't expect it. Like you're like,
What,
okay,
when
they about to
Peter
get the
died,
crack.
you're like, "Oh yeah, Peter made it," and then he's dead.
And I'm like, really, Peter and Domino gonna be the only ones that make it, and there goes Peter.
Damn.
Big
Big reason.
Deadpool's giving like the color commentary on the sideline.
Yeah. The jokes. I thought the jokes were really good. We expected them to be really good. Straight from the comics. Like me coming into the movie, I'll just be honest. I don't give a damn about story. I just come in. I want to see action, and I want to see jokes. And that's how I come into a Deadpool movie. And I thought the jokes were pretty good. And all of it's gonna be fourth wall breaking stuff, and of course, he lives true to that.
Oh, even more so than the first movie, I think.
Oh yeah.
Well, like there were a lot of just side comments,
Marvel
like
montage at the beginning for the
about Marvel
10-year anniversary. The 10-year anniversary, the kind of that they put at the beginning of the Infinity War, where you kind of had like the rotating characters and stuff like that, and then you get the Deadpool mock of it, where it's like 4 Deadpools side by side. And
yeah,
stuff,
they did
and
like
all
a
the
James
poses.
Bond thing too.
Yeah,
It's like a James Bond thing, and they had like the director or something, or is it producer, or is one of them is like the guy that killed John Wick's dog or something like that.
yep.
They had him like talking in the taxi, of course, talking to us, but talking about DC Universe. Like they never did that in the first movie, I don't think.
I don't remember.
They might have made a reference. It
They
might have
had
not
multiple Marvel references.
Yeah, because remember one of the early trailers for Deadpool 2.
Well, for the first Deadpool, they did make a reference to Green Lantern.
They
That's
did,
true.
yeah, because he was
Because he was
like,
talking about the suit.
he was like, don't make
talking
it
about
green
the-
and CG.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like even with the first trailer with Deadpool 2, I don't know if I'm pretty sure I remember where he came out the phone booth. He did the Superman theme and shit.
Yeah.
That was like one of the first trailers.
Did they
What-
play that
oh,
at
no, he
Logan, I think,
said, like,
or
what's-
right before Logan.
Yeah.
At the theaters.
I think it was.
Yeah, that's
I
the
do
first
remember
time it
seeing
came
that.
out. That's the first time
It
it
was
came
during
out.
it was when
before
Logan.
Logan.
Yeah, it was either
Yeah.
right. I think it was right before Logan.
Yeah,
Yeah, I remember. It was like right before I saw Logan. That was what came up. It's that.
and
So.
Speaking of Logan, the movie literally began.
Yeah.
Or
He's
him.
like, Logan, I'm gonna die in this one.
Then he had like the action figure Logan on a damn rock. I was like, yeah. But
God, it's funny because it's not even in the same timeline. Like that's what
Nope.
makes it even that much more funnier. Because Logan's supposed to be way more in the future than
Yeah.
Deadpool is.
Like Wolverine's supposed to be alive right now during the Deadpool.
Yeah.
And what's the Winter Soldier joke? It's like Winter Soldier's arm or whatever.
There was a
yeah,
lot.
Had that one.
a lot of references.
Oh, I brought up this before we went on air, but one of my favorites was just when he was walking through the house and then you see like the X-Men in the corner and then they shut the door. Because he's
Yeah.
always complaining about, like, that finally paid off the joke of how he's complaining about there's no other X-Men in the building.
Yeah, he said y'all can't afford them. If it was to say y'all couldn't afford
I didn't catch who was all there. The only two that I for sure seen were Beast and Quicksilver. I didn't catch who else was in the room.
Storm was there too, and so was
Professor was there.
yeah, Xavier was there. Storm and Nightcrawler was there.
Okay, I remember Nightcrawler too.
Yeah, I didn't see anyone else besides those guys. But I was honestly, I was just surprised that they even like made an appearance at all.
Yeah, I know.
Because that was unexpected. Huh?
I would not be surprised if that was somewhat of a reshoot where they added that in, because with the impending deal plus the increased budget, and I don't think like they didn't intend for Deadpool to be this popular, and I think that's why they kind of had him separated in the first movie from everything, and now with the popularity, they gave him Juggernaut, for crying out. Like one of the big popular X-Men villains. They gave him Juggernaut. You had the Mr. Sinister references in here. If you caught it, there was a House of M reference at the end. But
I think I did remember seeing that.
Where the kid was going to kill the dude, and there were M-Day posters hanging up.
Yep, I know what you're talking about. I do remember seeing that.
I think they gave him a little bit more freedom in terms of characters and stuff like that because of the popularity.
Oh, they had the Xavier jokes too.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Patrick Stewart joke.
Yeah.
So I definitely think the popularity helped Deadpool's case in terms of getting some of these other characters in there, at least even if it was for a brief moment.
Yeah, it most definitely could have been reshoots.
Because this was probably shot during the same time that Dark Phoenix was shot. So.
Yeah. If that movie comes out.
Dark Phoenix will come out. On everything else after that, no.
What do we think about the Frozen joke?
Hilarious. Hilarious. Because I hate that song. I heard it so much from like nieces and nephews. I started to hate
man. Especially around the time that movie came out. Oh my gosh, that's all you heard.
And the Tom Cruise and Kirsten Dunst.
Oh, the dude that drives the cab.
Dopinder was hilarious.
It's I obey the blood of your enemies. he ran that dude over at the end.
Oh, he was hyped for that.
Oh man. Yeah, that was great.
Oh, he calls Domino Black Widow.
Yep. Because you had Black Todd in the prison too.
Black Todd is racist. Thanos is racist.
Oh shit. Black Todd, that shit is funny.
It's so.
Oh, and Brown Panther.
Oh yeah, he was talking. Yeah, the dude. Oh yeah, that was great. That part when he got ripped in half, and then he was at the house. They just kept making jokes as his legs were growing back.
Oh, the baby legs, bro. That
and
shit.
He got off the couch and he had little baby legs,
and they're like, oh, so cute.
Oh man,
he's doing it.
Oh, they went all the way with that. There was like a little when he uncrossed his legs for that quick second.
Yeah, there's a little.
They didn't censor that part.
No, they didn't. I was like, what? They put that in the movie? Wow. Yeah, they did not censor that. Oh, remember he with the blind lady's house? He went in there and of course he opened the board and it had cocaine. He had his guns and it had cure for blindness.
Yeah, because that's from the first movie, right?
I don't remember seeing it.
Like,
where it
said
cure for
blindness. And guns are right next to the cure for blindness or whatever.
I don't remember seeing that in the first one.
I think it was in the first movie, but I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen that one.
What did we think of Vanessa, or Gotham Chick, as I like to call her?
Well, she wasn't in the movie much.
Yeah, she wasn't in the movie long enough to say.
Yeah,
she tried to.
But they brought her back though, just because of.
I was shocked that she actually got killed in the movie, but then they brought her back.
Yeah, because of her importance. I was shocked when they killed her too, and I was like, okay.
Especially especially that early. It was really early. Yeah, I didn't expect to see that.
Oh, the teenage warhead and her girlfriend was pretty funny.
Oh, yeah.
They said the one kid said she looked like Justin Bieber.
Yeah.
Yep.
with the damn haircut. Yeah. But so many damn jokes in that movie.
Which is funny because I thought they were going to make her part of the X-Force, but they're not. So I don't know if she comes back because she's not part of the X-Men franchises.
I think she comes back. Maybe not as a, because at this point they'll probably just make up some shit. Like
Wait, Matt Damon was in this movie?
Who was he?
You said Matt Damon?
Who was he?
It says Redneck number 2.
Oh, he was
when Cable first showed up.
Yeah.
What?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just reading it on here.
See when I go watch the movie again, I'm definitely gonna look and see. I'm like, okay, let's see, see if I can catch all the Easter eggs and stuff. I mean, I caught the Brad Pitt one. I was entirely sure because I was like, oh, is that Brad Pitt?
They showed his face real quick.
Yeah, like because that's what I was like.
It looked like a guy that looked like Brad Pitt, but I wasn't sure it was Brad Pitt.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, nah, that's not Brad Pitt. It might be, but then come to find out it is. It was really him. Now the Matt Damon one, I did not see that one. I did not see it. It was kind of dark.
Yeah,
because it was at nighttime and Cable shows up. Wow, you see more now. With a lot of these superhero movies or comic movies or whatever.
you almost have to watch it the second time.
You see a lot of big time actors who play small roles. Like in Thor, what was it Thor Ragnarok? Who was that? Who was that played like fake Thor?
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
I can't remember.
Wasn't it Matt Damon?
I think it was Matt Damon.
Yeah.
Too.
I was trying to think who it was. I was thinking
it was Matt Damon.
Yeah. So like you see big actors doing that, like I think that's pretty funny. It's just to add
Kinda
something.
Getting in where you can fit in, yeah.
Yeah, it's just to add something like, okay, damn, I missed that. So he was in the movie. Well, yeah,
Apparently.
yeah. But the action scenes in this movie, I thought were really good. Definitely more,
especially at the beginning.
Yeah, when he was just going around fucking killing people.
Oh my god.
Oh, at the beginning when he was just popping heads off. Yes.
Yeah.
The chainsaw.
Yeah. He was just going around killing people.
I think Deadpool is great because number one, the writing staff for this,
they can do almost anything they want.
to not only did they create a movie, but there's so many Easter eggs and references in there, and they're not out of place. And I don't think people, like just the regular public, understand how difficult that is to do for a movie.
Yep.
Like all of the
they're not
references make
forced.
sense. Yeah, not at all. All the Easter eggs, and not just in terms of Easter eggs with the dialogue, but like just placed around the movie, like the M-Day thing, just out of nowhere, right? Like that to me was brilliant. And number two, Deadpool has carved out his own completely separate lane for superhero movies, like one that you can't duplicate because of the way the character is. Like, yeah, you got some superheroes who are funny, like Tony Stark and stuff like that, but
You ain't got nothing like that.
Funny, and I don't think any other superhero fits into this lane besides a Deadpool.
You don't have anyone.
I was
that's
actually
like that
thinking
fourth
after
wall
I
breaker.
saw it, how great would it be to see Iron Man and Deadpool in a movie? But
Oh, the interactions would be hilarious.
yeah. What was I gonna say though? I just feel like the action, like you guys just brought up, like how, like he's popping guys' heads off the chainsaw, everything. I feel like it's almost when you're watching it though, it's not in a gory way though. Like it's supposed to be, and maybe in a different movie it would be, but because the comedy is attached to it, it's almost like softened.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's a really good thing because then you can expose it to different audiences without like it being gory if it was taken seriously.
And that's what I mean about his own lane, to where stuff that happens traditionally in a superhero movie, he could do the same thing, but it comes off completely different.
Yeah.
If Robert Downey Jr. walked up and shot somebody in the head with a proton cannon and blew his head off, you'd be like, wow, that was crazy. But when Deadpool does it, you just laugh at it, right?
Yeah.
It's so completely different. Like
he'll probably say something after doing it, like he will.
Yeah.
Do you feel though that kind of limits the ceiling of their movies though?
Nope.
To a degree. I think
Like in
there'll
terms
always
of
be a
greatness.
I think there'll always be a box office draw, because it is its own lane and you can't duplicate it with any other thing. But I think it does in the sense of using other characters. It limits them because obviously Fox and Marvel don't want to use certain characters with Deadpool because they have their own standards and ways of doing things. And then I think it does limit them to a degree when it comes to a story because you can't really tell that super serious story. Like Deadpool's girlfriend gets shot and next thing you know, he's trying to blow himself up in a house and I'm laughing.
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, yeah, it's really hilarious and everything, but the story is almost diminished because of that.
Now, I think they could go in a more serious direction at some point if they wanted to, but I don't know if as many people would be a fan of it.
Nope.
Yeah.
Because reading the comics, Deadpool's fucking batshit insane. Everything he does, like. I honestly
Adam loses memory, so
I don't think they can. You can't at this point. You can't do the serious things. Deadpool's a psychopath, essentially. Like the cancer with his healing, his healing factor made him that way. But he was already crazy before that. But it makes it worse. That's why his fourth wall breaking. That's the explanation why he's so insane, at least in the comics, anyway. So I don't know if you can do something serious because he wouldn't take it serious for too long anyway. Just because.
Yeah, I mean they tried to a little bit with the end of Deadpool 1, with the whole fight scene and him trying to save Vanessa, but there was still comedy there.
Mm-hmm.
There was still comedy there, even with the way he killed him at the end, where Colossus was trying to stop him and he still shot him in the head. So. I
thought it was hilarious when he was dying, and then it took like 10 minutes.
Oh yeah, I think the ceiling on it though is similar to the Spider-Man ceiling, and what I mean by that is as long as they keep doing this high school teenage Spider-Man, their ceiling's going to be limited.
Okay.
Once they get to the adult Spider-Man and the tone of Spidey changes a little bit, I think they can finally step over the ceiling that they're at now. And I think that's kind of the same thing with Deadpool to a lesser degree. Because I honestly think that's what holds back Spider-Man. We've seen high school teenage Spider-Man for like 15 years at this point. So I think people are tired of it. Was the last movie good? Oh, yeah, sure. But people are tired of seeing teenage Spider-Man.
And that's also why the best movie that they ever made was not a kid Spider-Man.
Yep. And so the tone is completely different, but it's different demographics too, because Deadpool kind of is I think Deadpool, the way it is now, is more of a wide-ranging demographic.
I have no idea how there's like a 5-year-old kid in audience last night.
First of all,
when you went?
Yeah, like the first movie I can understand to a degree, but this one, within the first 5 minutes, you're like, nah, this ain't really one for the kids.
You cannot bring the kids.
And I think he even says it in the movie.
Yeah, you cannot bring the kids to that one, especially when the one where he got his legs cut off. When he got torn in half by Juggernaut. Especially with what they were saying.
That was ridiculous.
That's one thing I am disappointed with Juggernaut. Not just the CG with him to a degree, but at some point there should have been a "I'm the Juggernaut, bitch" reference.
I was expecting that, and I did. I was really expecting that, and even the crappy.
It's
Marvel,
iconic at this point.
Yeah, even the crappy X-Men 3 did it. I was honestly expecting him to do that. At least while he was fighting Colossus, I expected him to do that, but we didn't get it. I was just surprised he was in the movie. Like I said, I didn't know he was going to be in the movie. So, what would you guys rate it? I don't know if y'all thought about that, but put you on the spot.
What did I rate the last movie? I feel like I rate the last movie like an 8. I feel like the last movie was better in terms of like storytelling and just typical like ABC storytelling, like all the way through. It was more understood and the uniqueness of it being the first one. But this one I feel like is almost funnier in a way. And there's more like little references that for a fan of all of these movies makes it better and a better experience. But at the same time, I felt like some of the motivations in the movie, like the little kid and all that stuff, was kind of weak and not really needed. So I'd say it was probably funnier, but it wasn't as good. So I'd probably say it was like around the same, like a 7.5, an 8, but I don't feel like it was a better overall movie. Does that make any sense?
Mm-hmm. I don't know what the hell I rated the first one. But I would give this one about an 8. Yeah, I'll give it an 8. I thought it was really funny. Action definitely is better than the first one. The first one, because of budget, it couldn't have the action scenes that they really wanted at the time. But of course, this one has an increased budget. So I like the action scenes. I liked all the different references. From talking about House of M. You had guests. You had superstar celebrities in the movie is playing minor roles. Of course, all the things Deadpool says, from jokes about DC, jokes about some of his past movies, jokes about current Marvel stuff. So I felt as though more action, it was funnier. The visuals, I would say it has some weak points, some parts with Juggernaut, and of course, MG brought up Cable's eye. But for the most part, that was definitely better. I don't know, I like this one more. Like I said, coming into it, I know it sounds weird, but it's Deadpool. I normally don't care about story, because from reading the comics, it was just jokes and killing. That's all it usually was, jokes and killing. This what this movie was. So I enjoyed it for that. It's so hard to grade it. It's so hard to grade it in comparison to some of the other movies. There's other movies you go into it for a story. Deadpool, you really can't. That's just me. I don't know.
Yeah, it's in its own lane. I understand what you mean, but
yeah,
it's hard to grade.
I think the one major thing missing from this, though, is the iconic fight scene like that we got in the first one, right? Because the first scene, obviously, the car scene when he, jumped into the, listening to the headphones, jumped in, and through the sunroof on a car, fucked some shit up, and then you had kind of the, the scene where he's jumping over cars and shooting. And he shot the bullet through like 3 dudes' heads and shit. I think this was missing that kind of iconic fight scene for him.
Agree. Yeah, I agree with that totally.
That's really, as far as action, the only issue I have with the action. But the action they did have was good still. I'm with you guys on the story. I do have this slightly better than the first Deadpool, just simply because of the comedy. I think they took a step up with the comedy. And like I said, it's very difficult to get as much as they got in and still be funny.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with all, like I said, all the references, all of the, just dialogue in general, kind of the interactions between the characters. It's not easy to do, and they found a way to make it work. So, I give them some credit for that. So I got this one slightly ahead of the first one, but not by much. Because I think this one's a lot more enjoyable in terms of, hey, I just feel like watching a movie to, laugh at real quick, right? And you throw this one on. I feel like this one does a better job at that.
And another thing that kind of puts it ahead for me was Josh Brolin as Cable and the chick that played Domino. I don't think they had nothing like that in the first one, really. That wasn't in this movie, Of course, you had Colossus was in there, but he was in the first one. But I thought that the new additions that they added to the second one, I thought they did a really good job. They helped out the movie a lot because Cable's super serious, and him interacting with Deadpool, he's just annoyed by him.
Yeah, buddy cop. Yep.
Yeah.
That's kind of what their interaction is going to be too. So.
Yeah. So the next movie is X-Force whenever that comes out.
Yeah, for them it's supposed to be X-Force. There's nothing on the table as far as Deadpool 3 yet. I know they said that they want to do it, but obviously by the time they even start shooting for it, it's going to be a Marvel. It's going to be a Marvel property at that point.
And
I think they're shooting X-Force this summer. I think, which means that the release for it would be next year. And then if they do decide to do Deadpool 3, they probably won't start shooting that till next summer, which would be right before or right after the time when Marvel gets the rights back. So I kind of think they're going to wait to see if Marvel okays it, because there's no point in saying let's do it and then you get all this stuff ready for it and then Marvel gets the rights and they're like, nah, we're good.
I remember they came out and said they wanted to keep him around, obviously because he's making money. But I think this one's gonna. I think this was gonna do well in the box office, and it's gonna force their hand to keep it around, just because it does make money, and it'll give them like the ability to I guess make more R-rated movies, because it's one thing that Marvel's always shied away from. But seeing how much this makes, they might be more willing to do it later. Maybe.
I think if we see R-rated movies, it won't be
quote
unquote the A tier characters.
Oh no, yeah,
it'll be the lower tier characters.
Yeah, it's gonna be the lower tier characters. It's another thing that they're eventually gonna get all this stuff, and with everything going on with Infinity War, and you getting some characters that's probably gonna be gone. They're gonna have to change up some stuff. They gotta kind of mix it up, because fatigue is eventually gonna set in. It's still gonna still making a bunch of money, and it's probably gonna continue to make a bunch of money, but fatigue's gonna eventually set in. So they have to make some changes. So hopefully,
I think Deadpool's safe though, even with the superhero fatigue. I think he's safe because
people treat him more as like comedy.
He's really just Deadpool's really just an assassin though. Like, that's the thing. Like, it's basically a funny assassin movie. Like, it's not necessarily like a superhero movie where it's like, I gotta go save the world type shit, right? And I think that's that kind of that lane that he's created that keeps him safe.
Honestly, MG, I feel like the superhero fatigue is just bullcrap that's being made up by people.
Well, no, it's not happened yet.
Infinity War is like what, the highest grossing movie ever, and now we have Deadpool, which is like doing really well.
It's not gonna happen yet, but wait till after the next Infinity War.
When people say fatigue, though, I think they're referencing like there being like a crazy monster drop off where these superhero movies are only doing like $500 million box office, which I think that's what they mean when they say fatigue. When I say fatigue, I mean like, okay, it's not a guaranteed $1 billion, anymore, where it'd be like 800-900 million, right? I think that's what the real fatigue will end up being. I don't see some like massive stupid decline where there's like, they're just doing Justice League numbers every movie.
And I don't think the fatigue, it won't really start until much after the next Avengers movie, where you got all these characters leave, and then you got to rely on some of these other characters to kind of pull it. I think that's when it's eventually gonna set in. But it's not gonna. Yeah. It's not gonna be. People think it's gonna be the death of those movies. No way. No way. No. They may not be. They probably.
They might need a reset at one point.
Or at least just.
I don't even know about a reset.
Or just at least just
maybe just a break.
That big character,
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like a break or a reset or something.
Where you go maybe 2 years without a superhero movie or something like that, maybe. Right? It happens, because superhero movies have been being made for, at this point, well over 20 years, nonstop.
Yep.
So, starting with obviously Blade, and Spawn back in the 90s and the Batmans, and then early 2000s with the X-Men and Spider-Man coming to the fold, and then the Batman in the mid 2000s. Like, it's been about 20 years. Like, we're closing in on that of just nonstop superhero movies, and the fatigue hasn't set in because most of them are good movies. It's not just a good like superhero movie, but there's like really good storytelling and writing in most of these movies, and those movies are always going to do okay. And
they have so much material.
Yeah, because I think it slid into the place of the action movie. It's not basically like they didn't slide into the place of your good Oscar-winning best movie of the year.
And I think that's
award
also
movie.
The thing with superhero movies is it could be an action movie, it could be a sci-fi movie, it could be it could be all these different
comedy.
things.
Yeah.
Comedy
but when you pencil it in, though, at the end of it, it's really an action movie. Like, you don't really see action movies doing the numbers they used to back in the past, right? In terms of
just pure action movies.
Yeah, just pure action movies, and I think that's the slot they took over, because they didn't take over the slot for romantic movies or super serious movies. Like, the slot they're in is action, and what's the one genre that's always been slighted, like at the Oscars and stuff? Action.
Action movies, yeah.
This is their spot they're in, and
because that's the same thing people used to say about '80s and '90s action movies.
True.
The same thing they say about the superhero movies, especially the detractors of them. The same thing.
Yeah, nobody's asking for them to be, for these movies to be, you know.
Like, how
Rain
could, let's be honest,
Man and
how
Shawshank
could
Redemption.
Ryan Reynolds not be up for an award?
Because action movies don't get acknowledged.
They get
No, but like, is there any other like thing that you could say about it?
No.
Well, the only thing that these movies get nominated for usually are score, visual effects.
There hasn't been a single. Did you know there hasn't been a single Marvel movie that's won an Oscar?
Of course not.
Yeah, because people look at it as action movie.
It's gonna.
I think there's only been 4 superhero movies that won an award.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure some of those aren't for the actual movie. It's probably for the behind-the-scenes stuff like visual score and wardrobe.
Yep.
I'm almost certain that's
it's definitely not going to be lead or...
Because Nolan
Dark
didn't win
Knight.
anything for any of the Batman.
Won something.
It
Dark Knight
wasn't
won
for the
Heath
actual
Ledger.
movie. Oh, Heath Ledger did win Best Actor that year.
Yeah.
Yep. That was the only time.
And
But,
just to bring up something interesting, Rotten Tomatoes. This is how close it is between Deadpool 1 and 2. All right, they have it at 83, and the other one's at 83 as well. And the audience score for Deadpool 1 is 90, and the audience score for this one's 86. So that's how close it is, according to Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh yeah. Well, and the funny thing about Ledger is he wasn't even supposed to be Joker at first. He was supposed to be Batman, and he turned it down.
Wow.
He didn't want to play a superhero, and they offered him the role of Joker because he didn't even he read the script and didn't like it. They offered him Batman though at first, and he didn't like it, and then they offered him Joker, and he didn't even read the Joker's part in the script. The script wasn't even like completely finished when he accepted it. It's just kind of by one of those chance happenings that stuff like that happened. Like Downey Jr. wasn't supposed to be the first Iron Man. It was supposed to be Tom Cruise, and Josh Hartnett might be the dumbest person in all of Hollywood because he's turned down Spider-Man, Batman, and Superman roles, which are the big 3 in comic books. He's turned down all 3.
Also, Spider-Man 2 won Best Achievement in Visual Effects.
Yeah, visual effects. Yeah, see, that's what they'll win for, though. They're not gonna win for. They're not gonna win on the.
And of course, Suicide Squad won Best Costumes. Don't forget that.
Which is still complete garbage considering what else could possibly have come out that same year.
Oh man. But
there's no way they can look at Enchantress and say, "Yeah, that's the best costume we got." Harley Quinn won them that award. That's really what it
our
is.
conversation has devolved to talking about Suicide Squad. People, we are out of here. Go subscribe to Mitch's channel, Bottom Line View. Follow MG on Virtuoso Sports. And if you haven't already subscribed, subscribe right here. Peace.